tonight.
And why do other people dye their stuff?
Canada's Deputy Prime Minister visits Saskatchewan with a number of tours and meetings marking her stop. Also, 6 months into war, we look at the impact since Russia swept into Ukraine. Plus, more details about a potential event center and arena in downtown Saskatoon.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Wednesday, August 24th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Thanks for joining us. Sam is away tonight. Russia's war on Ukraine has hit the 6-month point with no end in sight. Canada's Deputy Prime Minister marked the day here in Saskatchewan. Chrystia Freeland says in light of the war, Saskatchewan's potash industry is more important than ever. Kendall Latimer reports.
Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland put on a hard hat and toured the Mosaic potash mine near Kalonzi, getting a closer look at the product that is putting Saskatchewan on the map and getting to know the people working at the mine site, like Dustin Oros, who explains that potash is a key ingredient in fertilizer, this white stuff which helps feed the world.
Potash is one of the key nutrients in crop production. It's when you're buying fertilizer at the store, it's the K on the bag. The stuff that we produce, you'll see it as red, and it certainly helps with crop nutrition.
Saskatchewan produces about 1/3 of the world's potash, exporting to dozens of countries.
Farmers around the world depend on our potash, on the potash you see right there. And that means that millions and millions of people depend on the work that is being done here right now to eat.
And the industry has been growing too. This mine here was actually idle for years because of market conditions, but last summer they started production up again, and there are no signs they will be slowing back down.
Our forecast right now is we're just north of 1 million short tons. We're kind of stepping up our production and ramping up.
The demand for Saskatchewan potash has steadily increased this year. The violent Russian invasion of Ukraine and the global sanctions that followed caused major disruptions in the supply chain.
The work being done here is more important than ever. You are feeding the world, and in doing that, the work you're doing here also is helping the very brave people of Ukraine by providing the world with an alternative to Russian and Belarusian exports.
Saskatchewan has benefited from a surge in potash prices. It's one reason the province now expects to finish this fiscal year with a $1 billion budget surplus. Freeland says she sees huge economic opportunities for Saskatchewan as it brings more potash to the world. Kendall Latimer, CBC News, Kalonzi.
Добрий день! Рада вас бачити! Слава Україні! Героям слава! Я Христя! Дуже приємно. Мене звати Ірина. Ірина, дуже приємно.
And the Deputy Prime Minister also visited Bubba's Closet in Saskatoon to drop off some donations for displaced Ukrainians. Freeland stopped by the store after a private meeting with Saskatoon's mayor. Freeland speaks Ukrainian and expressed her gratitude to Saskatchewan for providing refuge to Ukrainians. Bubba's Closet is set up like a store, but everything here is free to Ukrainians who need help. This is also Ukrainian Independence Day, but a solemn one. Today, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky told the United Nations Russia has launched a deadly attack. He says 22 people were killed and 50 were injured when missiles hit a train station in eastern Ukraine.
Every new day is a new reason not to give up, because, having gone through so much, we have no right not to reach the end. What is the end of the war for us? We used to say peace. Now we say victory.
Earlier in his Independence Day speech, President Zelensky called on the Ukrainian people to stay strong as the war grinds on. In the capital, Kyiv, the day was marked quietly. Thousands turned out to wander through destroyed Russian war machinery that has been put on display in the streets. Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson, is one of many world leaders to express solidarity with Ukraine today, and he paid a surprise visit to the capital where he received Ukraine's Order of Liberty. Saskatoon is one step closer to possibly having a new arena and events center in the city's downtown. Today, officials gathered the media to share information about potential locations. CBC's Yasmin Khanea took it all in and joins me now live. Yasmin, I understand that they've narrowed it down to 2 locations. Tell us more about those.
Yes, and this is something that city administration has been talking about for some time. It's recommending the parking lot north of the Midtown Shopping Center or the undeveloped city yard lands in the downtown's north. These are 2 of the 5 sites that they were considered viable, but consultants say that the Midtown one is the highest scoring site based on their criteria. The other ones were deemed too small. That's because they were considered that they couldn't match the 14,000 seats at the Sask Center. Advisory Group Co-Chair and City Councillor Troy Davies says this is about getting in front of a trend.
We need to make sure that concerts and conventions are no longer skipping the city of Saskatoon. And that's the trend that we're starting to see here. So we're seeing conferences move past TCU Place due to kitchen areas or setups. And we're also seeing from the arena side, kitchens, the roof size. We almost lost Garth Brooks 6 times, and it was an economic impact of over $20 million for the city and the province of Saskatchewan. So my passion on this is that we're not building this per se for our parents. We're building this for our kids and our grandkids to make sure that when the time comes for a major concert to come to Saskatoon or a major convention, we're not driving to a different province to see this.
And Yasmin, while Davies says they are building it, this isn't a sure thing, so what are the next steps?
So, Ethan, on Monday, City Council will be presented with a detailed technical study of the location's benefits and drawbacks. Mayor Charlie Clark says it's likely that Council will approve it, and then they will be moving on to public engagement, which is expected to take place at the end of the month until early October. Now, back in 2018, the expected price tag of a new combined facility was anywhere from $330 to $375 million, and the city doesn't have an update on these costs. So there are still a lot of hoops to jump through. Ethan?
All right, thank you, Yasmin. The CBC's Yasmin Khanea reporting in Saskatoon tonight. Well, the rain was not enough to dampen the mood at a groundbreaking ceremony in Saskatoon this morning. Central Urban Métis Federation Incorporated, or CUMFI, will be building a new affordable housing development in the Pleasant Hill neighborhood. The 14 units being constructed will have 58 bedrooms for Indigenous families. It's being built with funding from CMHC that's specifically dedicated to rapid housing in municipalities. Saskatoon's mayor says this is something the city truly needs.
We don't want to have kids in shelters. We don't want to have families in shelters. We need this type of housing, safe, well-designed, supportive housing. And as you said, Shirley, that also helps to renew this neighborhood right beside a school at St. Mary's School.
We're going to be serving moms with large families. So there's such a need for it in our community. We have a family of 9 children and living in a 3-bedroom. It's just not good for families to be that cramped in. So we were going to have 2 3-bedrooms, 10 4-bedrooms, and 2 6-bedrooms.
CUMFI houses and supports parents who receive their children back from foster care. About a quarter of the units are expected to be ready for move-in by November 29th. The soundstage in Regina, once known as Saskatchewan Production Studios, now has a new name. This morning, new signage was unveiled for the John Hopkins Regina soundstage.
It'll give us a lasting memory that, it'll help his legacy carry on.
John Hopkins' family joined the government to dedicate the film and TV production facility. Hopkins served as CEO of the Regina and District Chamber of Commerce for 20 years until he passed away in February after a battle with cancer. He was a strong advocate for Indigenous economic reconciliation. In June, Hopkins was posthumously named one of the recipients of the 2022 Saskatchewan Order of Merit, the province's highest honor.
Thank you very much, everyone.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders will head to Vancouver tomorrow for the second of back-to-back dates with the BC Lions. Last week's 28-10 win for the Lions took its toll on both clubs. The Lions lost quarterback Nathan Rourke for perhaps the rest of the season. The Riders, meanwhile, will be down at least 3 players from their offense. Frankie Hickson will get a chance to start Friday. Hickson has already electrified the fans with a 63-yard touchdown run against the Red Blacks in Week 5. He'll replace Jamal Morrow in the backfield on Friday night. Morrow will be sidelined with a broken hand, which he had been playing with for a couple of games without anyone knowing.
Well, I was one of the first ones to know because we're roommates. So he came in and he told me, and I was just surprised because he didn't show any signs of it. He didn't, he's so strong, he's so tough and determined that it didn't show out there at all that he was injured. And then he tells me that he's been catching with it and doing all these things with it this whole time. And I'm like, okay, all right, more power to you.
He is kind of like the Speedy Gonzalez. He has great acceleration. I think J-Mo's got a little more left and right, a little more lateral quickness. But man, Frankie, when he puts his foot in the ground and goes north-south, he's got a lot of speed. So I think you got a little more downhill traditional tailback style with Frankie, but other than that, they're real similar.
Morrow was easily on pace for a 1,000-yard season. He'll have to put thoughts of a rushing title out of his mind for this year, though. That broken hand is expected to keep him out of the lineup for up to 2 months. For the game Friday, the Riders will also be without receivers Duke Williams and Justin McInnes. Both were injured last week. Well, a hazy and warm day out there in the Queen City, and as you get ready for back to school, well, it might seem like the temperature is ready to get back to switch to fall mode, but there is still a lot of heat in store. Meteorologist John Sauter will have your forecast after the break. Welcome back. A federal minister is firing back against the Saskatchewan government, accusing it of spreading misinformation. Over the weekend, the premier accused federal scientists of trespassing on private land to collect water samples. Today, the federal environment minister released his own somewhat scathing letter to Saskatchewan's minister in charge of water security. He said, quote, "I believe that we and Canadians are best served when we engage on the facts, not heated and misinformed rhetoric." He goes on to say, quote, "If a federal scientist inadvertently encroached on private land without permission, this is a matter that can surely be handled in a mature and informed manner." The CBC's Adam Hunter joins me now with the details. Adam, what exactly is the province alleging here?
Well, the province says there were 3 incidents in the province in the past few weeks in which federal government employees, scientists, were trespassing on private land to collect water samples. One of the apparent incidents happened on August 11th near Pence. And this past Friday, a farmer near Pence posted a picture on Twitter of this alleged trespassing. It's not clear if this was in fact trespassing. Under the Canada Water Act, federal employees can access private land under certain conditions. On Saturday, the provincial cabinet approved changes to the province's Trespassing Act to include federal employees. And on Sunday, the minister responsible for water security for Saskatchewan sent a letter to his federal counterpart alleging that there was covert testing for nitrates and pesticides by these scientists, and that could result in fines and even jail time.
And what has the federal government said in response to this?
We've had a response from the federal government who say that they're aware of the one incident near Pence, although it's not clear whether it was trespassing. They say their scientists were very near a highway when they were approached by a landowner and told they were on private land. They say they have 50 years of experience and follow strict protocols. However, at this time, due to this, they are reviewing their protocols and they're going to pause collection. They also say they weren't testing for nitrates and haven't been in the year 2022. It's not clear what else they've been testing for, but again, they say they will pause that collection. I can tell you that the opposition has weighed in on this. Agriculture critic Trent Wotherspoon says the government is posing a distraction with this trespassing allegation against the federal government.
From this premier these days, it seems to be more about spin and distraction as opposed to actually engaging in a meaningful way, in a substantive way with the actual facts. But that's, I think, reflection of a premier and a government that's really just off track with the realities and challenges that Saskatchewan people are facing.
Wotherspoon says the timing of the change to the Trespassing Act by the cabinet is, quote, highly questionable. He says the opposition will be looking into this issue further. Ethan?
All right, thanks, Adam. That's the CBC's Adam Hunter in Regina tonight. If you're an experienced police officer, the Prince Albert Police Service wants to hire you, and they'll offer an extra shot of cash to bring you on board. The police force says it needs to fill vacancies in its ranks, so it's offering a $25,000 incentive for experienced officers to step in. Deputy Chief Farrika Prince says new recruits require a fair bit of training and oversight, but officers with some years behind them can begin serving the community immediately. The $25,000 signing bonus is open to the first 4 officers it hires, and the money will be paid out over their first 5 years on the job. One of Saskatoon's biggest tech companies has recently shrunk in size. Vendasta sells digital tools to companies that serve small businesses. Last week, it cut about 35 positions from its 700-person workforce. Its COO tells CBC News the company grew during the pandemic as businesses rushed online, but now things have cooled off. In an email to staff, the company's CEO says Vendasta now has to increase efficiency and, quote, grow profitably. The company says it is trying to help the laid-off employees find new work in the tech sector.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Well, after some showers earlier today, the sun came out in Saskatoon, but some hazy skies accompanied it. Meteorologist John Sauter joins us now with a look at our forecast. John?
Well, thanks, Ethan. Pretty nice, comfortable day out there in Saskatchewan today, especially the south, where temperatures were, warm enough, but not so hot. And in the sunshine, a 23 in Regina, 25s for Moose Jaw, Swift Current, and in Assiniboia, and slightly cooler up around Yorkton at 20. So, yeah, with the sunshine, we did see a little bit of cloud and some little spotty showers that at times were rather intense. And I'll show you that on satellite and radar in a little bit. Northern Alberta in a heat warning, and we have this one air quality statement just around the western parts of central Saskatchewan. Most of the smoke being produced farther north and drifting over parts of northern Saskatchewan. But this is particularly where air quality is suffering tonight. All right, these are the little bits of showers that I was talking about, and at times we'll see some of this rain evaporating before it even reaches the ground. That's called virga. So we see some down in the southwest. We see some of this up around Saskatoon to the northwest of Saskatoon, but really short-lived, not worth canceling any plans over. We do have some cloud across the northeast tonight, and that's part of a system that rolls some rain into Manitoba for early tomorrow, but generally dry across Saskatchewan through into Thursday. There's a look at Thursday afternoon. Lots of sunshine here. May see some late day showers getting maybe as far north as Swift Current. And then on Friday morning, a separate system starts to move in. And this isn't just showers, but we're looking at thunderstorms late in the day. Even in Regina, I think there's a chance, same with Saskatoon, for some late day showers or thunderstorms on Friday, just in time to kick off the weekend. All right, tonight fairly clear. We'll see evening clearing here to the south and some patchy fog in Estevan and farther north as well, but just very patchy, not widespread fog. Fairly clear in the southwest. Saskatoon getting down to 12 tonight. Prince Albert will see some patchy fog overnight, a low of 10, and we could see some evening showers around La Ronge and up into Uranium City, and then that all clears out tomorrow. Lots of sunshine and heat in the north, and 28 degrees in the sunshine after some patchy morning fog in Prince Albert. There's that chance of evening showers. 30 in the sunshine tomorrow in Saskatoon. In Regina for your Thursday, sunny 27, same with Yorkton. And in the long range, Regina looks like this. And we've got that chance of showers on Friday late in the day. Also on Saturday with risk of some thunderstorms in there as well. And then drier weather as we get into Sunday and very stable weather through next week. Same idea for Saskatoon. That chance of showers and thunderstorms is in that 28-degree heat on Friday and Saturday. A lot of Fridays will be much later in the day. And then things dry out for Sunday and very stable and hot weather in Saskatoon for the first half of next week. Ethan?
Thanks, John. Well, hot, dry weather across Europe has caused problems, but it's also provided an opportunity for archaeologists. Disappearing waters in Spain have exposed prehistoric stone circles known as the Dolmen of Guadalperal. Dozens of rocks have been placed in circles dating back more than 7,000 years. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. Ukraine and Canada have strong historic ties, and the CBC's Karen Pauls visited Dauphin, Manitoba, a city that's provided shelter to Ukrainians over the generations and is stepping up again.
This construction site is far away from Mariupol, Ukraine, and the fishing ship Alexei Vlasov was working on when Russia invaded last February.
And all this is war in our city, because right now from huge city, they are totally destroyed.
After meeting up with his wife and 2 children in Romania, they made their way to Dauphin in western Manitoba.
Grateful for whole Dauphin community, because many family, run away from home without nothing.
Dauphin was settled generations ago by Ukrainians fleeing conflict, so when Russia invaded, people here knew they had to help.
We felt we had to give back.
Ryan Rollick says Dauphin has sponsored 11 families and is expecting 3 or 4 more.
Our Ukrainian people are coming back to our small towns like they did 70, 80 years ago. And we're seeing that right now before us, and we're a part of that. And it's history in the making. We set the bar very high on how we can help out, and we're proud of that.
About 3,200 displaced Ukrainians have arrived in Manitoba. 1 in 7 Manitobans have some connection to Ukraine. Which is why hundreds rallied this week, calling on Russia to release Ukrainian prisoners of war who surrendered from Mariupol. Sofia Lazarenko fears they'll be executed.
It's terrifying, especially in our family. We have 2 soldiers that are captured right now.
Many, like Maria Puhach, worried Russia will escalate its attacks.
I really worry about my country. I really worry about my relatives who live there and little kids. I want them to live freely in their country and have a freedom.
Back in Dauphin, Alexei Vlasov knows how lucky he is.
That is my main dream for my kids, and feeling safe themselves, and they are living in a very calm and with peace, looking in the future.
He hopes freedom, safety, and peace will soon come to his homeland, too. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Dauphin, Manitoba.
Here are your conditions for tonight and early tomorrow in Regina and Saskatoon. We'll start in Regina. Pretty simple. It's a clear sky tonight. Midnight temperature around 16. Northeast winds at 10 to 15. And then on into the morning, boy, have the sunglasses ready. Leave the umbrellas at home. Lots of sunshine. Should be right around 15 degrees at 9 a.m. with a very light northerly wind. And the same kind of forecast for Saskatoon. Clear, 16 at midnight. South winds are very light, and then a nice bright sunny start to your Thursday, and temperatures at 9 a.m. at 18 degrees, southwest winds at 10 to 15. Ethan, back to you at the desk.
All right, thank you, John. And that's it for us tonight at 6 o'clock. Glenn Reed and John will be back with more tonight at 11. In the meantime, thanks for watching and have a great night.